Well, I think I had mentioned earlier today that I tried to, I traded this nib for this nib and they both worked. But it turns out that they both worked before I traded them. It was this pen that was the one that was skipping. This is the one that I thought I may have somehow did something to in a calligraphic fit. But looking at this under my loupe, I don't really see anything that's wrong with it. But there are times when the tines look like they're not even or something. And it skips, as you can see it's doing. It's not feeding. So why is that? Why is that doing that? Hey, Ms. Marilyn, how are you? Oh, I'm trying to be good. Seems like this one wants to get bent down a little bit. That side. Hayward is trying so good on you. I don't quite know what you mean by what you just typed. This is a very tight feed in this here little pen. Keyword. Okay, let's see. Let's dip this in actual ink. See if this goes. See, what's it doing there? That's not how it's supposed to work. Is it, Ms. Marilyn? What is not working? We're going to take this nib out of this pen and we're going to put it in this pen. We'll see if it works any better. Doesn't even want to go in. There we go. put it in pretty deep. Hey, Cesar. How are ya? Let's try this nib in this pen, see if that works any better. I'm trying to get ready for your visit, Cesar. I'm not doing a very good job of it, but I promise I will. Okay, I'll just put this away. I'll put this away as well. Well, no, I'm not going to put it away yet. Let's see if I can. Take this nib out. Come on. I always feel like I'm at the dentist. The feed needs to be heat set at some point. It's too far down. Gloucester man here. Oh no, not the dentist. So let's pretend I'm going to put this in my thing and do a little burnish on this nib. Let's just pretend I'm doing this. Well, you don't have to pretend, I'm actually doing it. What I'm trying to do is, if there's any bend in these two tines, by doing this, maybe the two tines will meet better than they were before. I wonder if I should just put it back in the very original pen it was in and see what happens. No, I'm just going to leave this one in there. Just going to leave that there. We're going to put this nib in this pen. Is what we're going to do. So, Gloucester man, have I ever spoken with you before? I don't remember your name. And are you, in fact, from Gloucester? Right up the road from me? Kind of up the road? Well, I'm not having much luck with this one, and I'm just wondering why. It's not functioning. Always blame your materials. That's what we artists do. Skipping. It's not supposed to do that. So, are you from Gloucester? Gloucester man? I'm just going to leave this nib in here. We're just going to put it back in the drawer. Deal with it some other day. These go back in the drawer. I was almost thinking, Dr. C, I would sell you one of these two because I thought they were identical. But it turns out they're not identical. One of these has this little, the one on the right has those horizontal lines that go around the cap and the barrel. And there's just something that makes that differently interesting to me than the other. They also have the different levers. So I end up having to keep both. Hate when that happens. I will have some very nice pens for you. So don't worry about that. This is a lovely little Schaefer pen from the 20s. Schaefer number 2 nib. I did this drawing of the typewriter with it in my attempts to give away a big typewriter to anyone that would want it. And it was not enough of a draw. Anyway, Ms. Marilyn, I was trying to describe this nib as having a little bit of, it seems like it has baby's bottom on it, but I don't see that through my loop. So let's just put a sack in this pen. We just do something we can do today. Can we do that? Do you think I could do something of value? The goat girl. Hello, goat girl. So this is what's left of the rubber sack on the sack nipple. The rest of the sack is right here. This was in the pen. There's still more of it in there. Come on. God, there's all sorts of it in there. I think it's done now. This is what happens This is a Waterman. This is a Schaefer. It was called a Gifty set. They were pen and pencil sets that were supposed to be gifted at graduation or Christmas or wedding present or whatever, bar mitzvah. And this one, however, I like because it has this inscription on it: awarded by the L.C. Smith and Brothers Typewriter Incorporated. And I thought that that was kind of neat that they gave away a writing instrument that their products were doing a good job of putting out of business. Now, you always needed a pen. You couldn't, you needed pens to take notes and to write signatures and to sign documents and to write prescriptions. Typewriters were big, clunky, heavy things. And the last thing you were going to do is carry around a cast iron typewriter to your French class, were you? And when were you growing up? Put this in here. Ta-da! Repaired. I'm not one of these people that restores pens. I put a sack in them and I call it a day. If they're clogged, I'll clean them. I don't take any pen completely apart because that's just silly. But the parts that need to be taken apart to make the pen work, I'll take those apart. Yeah. Ta-da! Well, that was recent when you think of pens being given as a gift. It was hardly ever done. Pens were way passé by then. And there are seven people watching me now. Who else is in the room? I think this is one of the ones that I bought at the Boston Pen Show. Is this the Fountograph pen? And it looks like it had never been used. It's very crisp. And I don't have one of these in my collection. It's a very boingy nib, which in the case of this kind of boinginess will not last. It's very weak. In fact, I think it might be missing it's missing a bit of iridium. So needs a new nib. But I'll keep it in my collection anyway, just because it's a pen I'd never heard of before. So Cesar, I'm looking forward to meeting you again in person and meeting you at our first meeting will be at the Gardner Museum. And we will enjoy going through that. I think I may spend some of my time drawing the interior on my iPad rather than maybe looking directly at the art, which you and Mary will be doing, just paying attention to the actual paintings and drawings and stuff, but I'll be drawing the interior, and then I'll catch up with you and draw another room and do all that kind of stuff. So we'll have fun. Eight people are watching me. That's like twice as many as normally do. But normally I'm in bed by this time. So there is that. I normally broadcast in the mornings. What else do I have here? Oh, this is my really nice Skyline I was going to sell you. Cesar offer to sell you. And it broke in half right there. I sat on it or something. It was in my bag. And I'm sure I have another barrel that I can put this in. It has a nice rubbery nib in it that you said you wanted. Hopefully I can get that ready for you. What is this little thing? Oh, that's what it is. So I got a message from who did I get the message from? Got the message from Friedrich today, saying that gold prices are way up, and this nib, just the nib, for scrap value is about $50. So I just sold 2 nibs for $75, and they were perfectly good nibs. So and they're not going to be that cheap if I can scrap them for more money than I sell them for. I'm not a very smart salesman. I have this. This is a gumball machine, and it's full of gold nibs. And these are all nibs that are broken in some way. Some might be fixable or usable. They might be missing iridium. Or iridium on one tine, and you can make it even and smooth out the gold, and you could be writing on gold and it works perfectly fine, except it wears down and it'll become sharp, which isn't necessarily bad. So anyway, look at this lovely thing. This is one of these interesting lever systems that I think the bank, this is a banker pen. So they had this two-part lever. So you wouldn't accidentally, putting the pen in your pocket, you wouldn't catch your shirt pocket on the lever and it would pull up and ink would go everywhere. So they have this little brake system, this emergency brake. So that back bit, you put your little fingernail in that little thing and boing, that pulls up, and then you do the sack. You put it back down and then you lock it with this lock. So what company made this, you ask? The Pencraft Company, patented Chicago, 1918. Pull that back, pull that up, squeeze the sack, put it down, push it in. Pretty clever, huh? Paul W. Johnson, Mansfield, Massachusetts. Never heard of that company before. I should look at the goddamn pens I have a little more often, shouldn't I? Finding all sorts of things I didn't even know I had. This is a lovely marriage. This is a part of a Doric, and this is part of a parquet. But they screw on and it fits and everything. But it's a marriage. What kind of nib is this? I have a sharp gold seal. Lovely nib. Is anyone else typing? Oh, other people are typing. Sorry. I am now seeing what you're typing. Nothing was scrolling. There's Friedrich. You're having all sorts of conversations. Grouchy, but okay. There's Atomic. Pierre was born in the 1900s. I was. 1956 AD. Anno Domini. So Friedrich, all of my mishigoshing about the nib that was in this pen that wasn't working right was actually the nib in this pen that wasn't working right. I had two number 4 sterling walls, and I thought, I saw the initials here and I thought, those aren't the ones that I remember. I thought that was something else. So I looked back and these initials are different. This is MN, Minnesota. I'm pretending. But I did take the nib that was in this pen that was skipping and still does, and I put it in this one. The one with the wonky sack nipple. And I still don't understand why it skips. Doesn't make any sense to me. This is what happens when you have too many pens. That is exactly right. You forget what you own. Another thing that I have, the problem I have with my pens is they're organized in many different categories of organization. Most pen collectors put all their Schaefers in one drawer next to each other, and they put their Walls and their Watermans each in their own drawer. Well, that would be fine, except when you also collect sets of pens, pen and pencil sets, they're in a different location than just the pens. And then I have pens that have things written on them and they're in a special drawer. Many of them are in a special drawer. And then I have pens that I work with and they're on my desk. So if someone said, where is your Waterman 452V? Got me. Does it have a name written on it? It might be in the name written on it drawer. Your sack is always wonky. And they can be in two different places at the same time. In alternate universes, where Pierre Gustafson spells his name Pierre, Gustaphson, and I have 6 fingers. In that alternate universe, I have a pen collection that is all organized by manufacturing only. But I don't live in that universe. I also have boxes that have pens in them. So sometimes the pens I have are in boxes and they're in a different location than the drawer full of Skylines. And why is this? Oh, I know. I remember why. This is a solid gold set, RJG, but I'm missing the solid gold clip. I suppose I could just put a gold fill clip on this, right? This pen, when this was made, I think it cost $64. Isn't that what the solid gold cap only pen cost? Friedrich will be the one that will know the answer to this question. This is one of the things that happens with these poor pens, is the inside plastic part of the metal covering. This is 14 karat gold, this whole thing. So this is, how much is this worth, Friedrich? How many dollars? 300? If a number 2 nib is worth $50, a big cap Okay, where does it say 14 karat gold on this? There it does. In the tiniest, subtlest lettering. That's one of the things I like about vintage pens. They weren't their machining was subtle but lovely, and you know the machine that cut these little tiny lines, you don't have to make them big and globby. And now if they were selling a pen that said 14 karat gold, it would be in big letters like this big. This actually says 14 KARAT, which is not normally, you don't see it spelled out. What's in this box? Another little set. Is this one of the ones that's the smaller one? Not just the shorter one, but the one that is actually skinnier? Give me a Skyline cap. There's this guy, that pen collector, who wrote this big brand new book about Eversharp Skyline, Eversharp pens. It was the last word. Everything was in it, except for the skinny version of this pen, which he didn't know existed. I think this is the standard size. It is the standard size. They made two standard sizes, a short pen and a long pen. This is the shorter of the two. And then they made a rare one that's skinnier. It's this short or this long, but skinnier. And then they made an executive one, which is big. Uh-oh, don't look at this one, Friedrich. Friedrich gets all, his trousers get tight when he looks at gray pens. Isn't that right, Friedrich? And yellow pens. And this one has a really, really fine nib on it. Well, it's not really, really fine, but it's pretty fine. Yes. Now he gets his trousers get tight when he sees yellow or gray pens. Guaranteed forever. That's pretty long time there, Eversharp. Are you sure you want to do that? You sure you're up to this task? I love these pens. I love Skyline pens. I always have, and I always will. They are, I really like the design of them, and they generally have really great nibs. I mean, all the nibs that they made were good. The ones I like, they often end up on Skyline. Nice, rubbery, flexible nibs. So, solid and transparent yellow. So, anyone hear anything about the pen show that happened today in New York City, New York? I looked at pictures online and it seemed like it was not very crowded, not very many tables, and it didn't seem like there were that many people. But I would have thought New York is has a lot of people right there. What the hell is this? I don't know what it is, but I like it. Look at that. Look at that sexy profile there. That it's sort of like those Zenarian Parker pens that they made, where they sort of mimicked dip pen nibs. So there was a thinner part of the barrel where you would hold the pen down here rather than up here. You'd hold it here. It's not easy for me to read the commentary because the level of the screen is sort of level with my eye. So I have to sort of reach my neck up. Anyway, I expected my 3/4 roommate to come back tonight, but I guess he's not. And my poor cat, who loves him, is pining for him right now. This is a lovely pen. These Schaefer No. 2 self-filling nibs that they made back in those days before they all got stiff. There are some pens I was saving for you, Friedrich. They're still over here. Gray Waterman things. Ooh, that's a sweet little nib. Nice, fine, accountant kind. You have kind of a box going. It's not a very big box. It's not all that exciting, but it is a box. This is not in it, though. This short little stubby with that cute little clip. This little bulldog of one of these pens, Taperites. It's just pretty cool. Is that a chore with those styles? What does this one do? You know, these pens that no one likes, no pen collector likes, pen users love them. they don't like them because they were mimicking Parker 51, which is a perfect pen. But a Parker 51 rarely has a nib that is flexible. It could do one kind of line only, but because Watermans have more of a nib showing, they could do more stuff. And they are really, really great pens. I love them. You know, we both like taper rights. I have a drawer of maybe 30. 40 maybe. And then this is like one of them that has the screw cap. E little on this one. I don't think this is the right cap. This will be another nice nib. I think you have one of these already, Dr. C. But if not, I've got one I can sell you if you want. Another little short one. Anyway, fun pens. Go to bed now. Time to go to bed. One last one. See, another screw cap one. This is a standard pen. It's in the wrong drawer. Standard nib. You see what you write. That was how the ads for these things talked about their taper right nibs, because there was more of a nib there that you could see rather than a 51. A friend of mine, pen collector friend of mine, went to the library to listen to Gangbusters, the old radio show. And the Gangbusters radio show was on tape. They had tapes, cassette tapes of old radio shows. And he was delighted to hear that that week's episode of Gangbusters was sponsored by Watermans. So there were two Waterman ads, about a minute and a half long, in the half-hour program. And one was for the taper right, and the other one was for Waterman Ink. Actual tests prove Waterman Ink is better. And it had that sort of voice that I'm mimicking, that important sounding kind of voice that radio announcers had back then. Proved by actual tests. Who's dying? Before I croak. Oh, I've got bottles like this. Full of ink. I traded a blue duofold to Frank Dubiel for 28 quarts of Waterman's ink in their original boxes. Everyone thought I was crazy. But at the time, that pen that I traded was maybe a $200 pen. And at that time, I don't think anyone was buying any ink. But I knew how much ink cost to buy it in a bottle. And I knew that the $8 a piece I was spending on a quart of 60-year-old ink was a good deal. I sold lots of quarts to lots of people. And I used a lot of the ink myself as well. I don't know, maybe, hold on. Hello? You're not back today. That's good. I did. No, I figured, and the cat is, any noise in the hall, the cat runs to say hi to you and comes back and scowls at me. So, we'll see you tomorrow. Okie doke. Okay, yeah, bye. 16 bottles. Yeah, the old ink I got, the old Waterman bottles, the red was really, really good. And I used that a lot. A lot of them were red bottles of ink. There was one a catalog I saw for Waterman pens, and they had a page at the end or 2 pages of Waterman ink. You could buy it in the little bottles, or you could buy it in the pint bottles, or the quart bottles, or the gallon bottles that would be sold generally to school. But they also had a 50-gallon keg or a 20-gallon keg. What do kegs have in them, like a beer keg? So with this wooden bottle with wooden barrel with slats on it and Waterman ink, carved into the wood. And I thought, the only people that would buy that would be probably a big firm, Woolworth and Company, to do their accounting or something. And I think that would have been almost considered insider trading if one of the Waterman pens said that, oh God, Duesenberg just ordered a 50-gallon barrel of red ink. I think something's going to happen with that company. I guess this nib is fine. It's just my imagination. Okay, what do I need to do here? Friedrich, I leave the top off my shellac so that it gets nice and gooey, because that's what you want shellac to be, gooey, when you're putting sacks on pens. So it has a nice little bit of scum on the top. You like that. If it's too watery, the sack will just fall right off. Put all of them in the soaker. These are the two in the soaker cup. And this is one of those, it's actually a graduated sort of cylinder kind of thing, if that's the right word. And this has a really nice nib in it, but unfortunately needs a new sack. And it's one of these kinds of sections that you can't grip, can you? And it's also one of these sections that either pulls straight out or you have to twist it a little bit to the right. I can't wait to have some wine with you, Cesar. We're going to have fun, I hope. I do sometimes drink too much, which I've already confessed to you. So if I get sloppy, that's what happens. So Atomic, you live near Dr. C. You're just probably 20 miles from each other, I think. You're in, where do you live again? What town? Atomic. Well, they can turn into eye drop fillers if you screw those suckers on tight. Atomic, I think, lives in near Ventura, northeast, I think, of Ventura. Because I remember he was close to Cedar, and I've been trying to get Atomic and Cedar to play with pens someday. I don't think they have yet. And Dr. C is close by there as well. Anyway, I need to wash my hands and go to bed. So we'll talk to you later. Bye, everyone. Why isn't this turning off? There we go.